standing here. So I crave your indulgence once more, ladies and gentlemen, eminent colleagues. Let us try and listen attentively because we are here apart from networking, we are also here to educate ourselves on current developments in our profession. So let us try and pay attention so that we can gain something from this series of papers as well. So I'm hoping to have 5 minutes, but you should do your presentation. I know you have rehearsed it very well, so you go to the point. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm standing on the previous protocols observed. I'm here to present a title that says Embracing Innovation in the Delivery of Information Services in the Current Day Nigeria, which way Nigerian libraries. My name is Ife Evangel Obin, and I'm presenting this paper with Fidausi Abdullahi, Professor Tella Adeyinka, and Oyebinama Colette. Oyebinama Colette, thank you. Okay, in this study, we'll be looking at our background to the study, the statement of problems, research questions, methodology, our results, and then the discussions of the study. Okay, as we all know, ICT has transformed a lot in the different sectors, especially in the library sector. And from what we can see on the screen there, robots, that's robotics, and so many of them cloud computing that have come to take over, our library now, our library services. So we're actually here to talk about how these modern technologies have actually taken away, what we used to know in the 90s. So we're trying to embrace what innovation in the delivery of our services, the way we render services in the library. Okay, we run. So what is innovation? It's all about, an idea or a practice that is perceived as new by an individual or an organization. And from what we can see here, we have the laptop there, we have our palm tops, we have our smartphones. Now, we no longer deal with like Mac and the rest of them that we used to have before now. A lot of things are changing. Now we're talking about embracing them. Are we as librarians and lecturers, are we actually embracing these things? They are there for us to embrace. But from what we can see, as we go down the line, we see that they are there for us to use. But most of us, the librarians, the libraries, the lecturers, we're yet to embrace them. So let's run along. Okay, so we have major technologies for innovative information services in Nigerian libraries, and this includes the web-based emerging technologies, which includes our blogs, our website, and the rest of them. Our cloud computing, we can save your documents in the cloud on Google, and you travel to Japan, to Germany, and you still produce the same document the way it is because you did what you're able to save in the cloud. Our social networking sites, electronic information resources, maker spaces, and then ILS, that's integrated library systems. Then our problem is that all these facilities, they are all available. Are we actually using them? We can't be innovative if they are available and we are not making use of them. What could be the problem? So could we assume that we want innovation or improvement in our services? Or does it mean that we're not being concerned about how we offer these services to the users? We have 4 research questions. What are these uh, innovative services that are available? What is their relevance in the library? And the challenges that we encounter delivering them, and the way forward in Nigerian services. We have methodology. We use the qualitative method. Our population was like 60 academic librarians, but not all of them returned our papers, so we have 42 of them. And then we're able to use Google Form, online Google Form, to present our paper. Then we have results on how to deliver innovative services. Some people said that in their own libraries, I mean, from what we saw ask them, say they're still using the old ones, like Mark and the rest of the normal printing system. But others said that they have actually gone forward. Okay, you can see Mark, magnetic discs. These are the previous methods: floppy disks, compact disks, scanning machines, microfilming, and fax. That's what some people said they're still using. While some others said that they've actually moved ahead. And the right thing and the in thing is that we should be able to go online and start using our UPAC. As librarians, we should be able to embrace these things that are available now. Barcode reader. Long time has gone now. Time has gone now where people are still doing, the papers will come, you record them. No. Once they come, you use a barcode and then read these books into the library. Our social media, our RFID, artificial intelligence, AI, cloud computing, and then blockchain. Then our result too says that nearly all the respondents agree that the use of these technologies that are very, very relevant in the services that we render. Okay, the challenges include limited funds, ICT policy, among others. And then we also know that there is high cost of IT uh, materials, and then the attitude of our librarians and the users. Are we ready to embrace these things? So of course, we nonchalant, and we're not even ready to learn. So these are our challenges. And what's the way forward? The way forward is that until we, the librarians, decide that we want a change, there will be no change. And again, we should have increased budget to the libraries. There are so many of them. Then in conclusion, the study concluded that based on our findings, and even though the math is available, the floppy disks are available, we need the modern, decks like robotic AI, cloud computing in our libraries. So we want to recommend that our libraries should increase their budgetary allocations, that we should be able to, meet management support or get management support in everything that we do. Thank you so much.
Round of applause for her, please. Thank you very much. You took 1 minute extra, but you're on course. Thank you very much. Please, my eminent colleagues, I want to remind us that as a norm, we would like to keep all our questions. Let's keep all our comments, our questions. Let's be attentive, take note of all for each of the papers, and at the end of each all, we can make our comments, make our contributions, and ask our questions. Thank you very much. So I would like to, at this time, call on the second, the second speaker for the next paper, Enange, Enange A.M. Mohammed. You are right here. Okay. The title of his paper is this paper is was written by four people, four persons, but Nange Mohammed is going to deliver the paper on their behalf. The title of the paper is Coping with Prevailing Educational and Societal Requirements of Books Through Packaging of Great Literature Resources in Nigeria. Thank you. So you have 5 minutes. Try keep up to time. Thank you.
Good afternoon and congratulations on the 60th anniversary of NLE. As you've heard, the title of the Our research is coping with prevailing educational and societal requirements of books through packaging of grey literature resources in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, as I congratulate ourselves on the 60th anniversary, this is to tell us that libraries in Nigeria have come a very long way, educating Nigerians through the use of various resources, through the use of various information resources, both print and non-print, published and non-published. Those ones that are not published are what we call what grey literature, and they are numerous in our society. And some of these are used in the educational system. Examples of these are conference proceedings, seminar, workshop, papers, research project, syllabus, speeches, addresses, sermons, technical papers, blueprint, and reports, both in print and electronics. These resources are very much important. Some of them contain original information, that is, primary sources of what? Information. And some of these are used for as a compendium for most write-up. And some of them has ability to communicate complex information in a simple time. We cannot say all the importance of these resources because of the limited time. So what we did in this research is that we seek the views of librarians on how to improve the packaging of these resources so as to meet to cope with prevailing societal and educational requirement of books. And the result we had in the findings, in the findings, unpublished research works top the preference of the category of grey literature resources to be packaged with 100% agreement. This was followed by book manuscript, 94%, and conference proceeding, 92%. We also seek their view in terms of elements the criteria should be followed in collecting this material. Accuracy, comprehensiveness, relevancy, and recency of the material are all accepted to be the criteria to be followed in collecting the material. The other thing we are seek was the way, the format this material are to be, packaged. And most of them accepted that let it be in topical form, that is subject by subject, and at the same time classical, level by level, primary, secondary, and tertiary. So these are the things this research contained. Uh, in the conclusion, the category of abundant grade literature resources in Nigeria will have been put to more use if properly packaged and shall serve as a good avenue for coping with prevailing educational and societal requirements of books in Nigeria. Therefore, therefore, the paper recommends for one, establishment of National Reprographic Center for Collection and Packaging of Grey Literature, which Professor Elua Aina earlier recommended, and the provision of sufficient laws, funds, and resources, and then the strengthening of synergy between the stakeholders. Stakeholders here are repository centers, archives, library, institutions, and others. Thank you for listening.
Please, let's give him a round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Once more, I want to remind us to please take note of our questions, comments for each of the papers. At the end of it all, we are going to make our comments. Thank you very much. The next, the next paper presentation will be done. will be taken by Oluchi Tado. Yeah. She is presenting on behalf of two other persons. The title of the paper is Assessing the Impact of Women Librarians in Library Information Service Practice in Nigeria from 1962 till date.
Good evening,
Your
everyone.
time starts. Thank you.
Assessing the impact of women librarians in library and information service practice in Nigeria from 1962 to 2022. The following persons that wrote this paper with me include Mr. Chidiono Hakalo, Dr. Mrs. Iche Kalu, and myself, Esther Chidi Kalu. The content of the paper: introduction, objective of the study, problem statements, literature review, methodology, discussion of findings, recommendation. Introduction. In time past, women in our society were relegated to the background and saddled with the entire responsibility of childbearing and upbringing, feeding, and of impacting moral ethics. We have women have actually excelled in library profession through leadership position, library advocacy, information dissemination, rural information, community awareness, and other activities for the betterment of the society. The objective of the study: to identify the major impacts a woman librarian in advancing library and information practice, to find the major roles of women librarian plays and are still playing, to identify challenges women librarians face in the library, and also to suggest possible ways in addressing the identified challenges. Problem statement. In spite of numerous responsibilities which the society exposes to women at home and at their various places of work, these women in libraries have seen the need to put aside the stereotypical image of womanhood by discharging their functions without neglecting their traditional gender roles or family responsibility. Literature review. Concept of female librarians, women education in librarianship, involvement/impact of female libraries. And in our paper, we have examples of some female librarians who have distinguished themselves in library and information service in Nigeria. Number one on the list, there are so many others, but I've just listed out some. Dr. Mrs. Nkemo Sigwe, who has been involved in carrying out information literacy activities. Dr. Victoria Koje, who have mentored a lot of librarians and also sponsored one of the NLA awards for young librarians. Mrs. Clara Abaimbi, she builds a library in Kuje and is also supporting the women course in libraries in Nigeria. Hadiani Mat Abdurrahim, who have been a mentor to so many young female librarians, and also Mrs. Falashade Adepoju, who have been prominent in the area of information advocacy of young people. Not forgetting Mrs. Titilola Mafe and a lot of so many librarians, female women librarians, who have silently impacted the library and librarians. Methodology: the survey research design was used for this study is population of 112 women from National Library of Nigeria, 80 copies of questionnaires. The data collection instruments used was a self-structured questionnaire, and also the discussion and findings are also there. Women librarians should be more enlightened in the era of ICT, strategic positioning of women librarians to man library and institution. Recommendation: women librarians should be considered in time of stress management and learn how to separate family responsibility from professionalism for their various work. Conclusion: the impact of women librarians have been rated high, which implies that women librarians have impacted positively in library profession. Thank you very much.
Please, a round of applause for her. Please encourage our young librarians. So, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, the next paper will be taken by Augustine Madu. Augustine Soma Madu. They will be presenting on behalf of three people. The others are Patience Odolibo. The other person is Kate Alawode. The title of the paper is The Role of Digital Librarianship and Open Access for Sustainable Development in Nigeria, a Concept Analysis. I have 5 minutes. The time starts.
Yeah. Good day, my colleagues. I'm here to present the paper that says the role of digital librarianship and open access for sustainable development in Nigeria, a concept analysis. On behalf of my co-authors, Mrs. Patience Odenibo and Kate Omadugwa Alawode. The outline of the presentation includes introduction, what is sustainable development, what is digital librarianship, what is open access, literature review, digital librarianship and sustainable development, open access and sustainable development, conclusion, and a recommendation. Now, sustainable development has created a great hype globally, and it has created attention and form frame that keeps the human being in shape. It has also become a keyword for technical cooperation, agencies, and a term for development planners, a term for conferences and scholarly publication. It is also a symbol for development and environmental activities. Sustainable development is made up of two major terms, two basic terms, which is development and sustainable, which is used interchangeably with sustainability. While sustainable development is a multifaceted process that involves significant changes in social structure, attitude, and institutions, as well as economic growth, the reduction of inequality, the eradication of absolute poverty. Sustainability or sustainable represent the power balance in interactive process between the population and overall size of its environment in which the population develops to exist its highest capacity without causing irreparable negative effect on the environment. Its relevance in human socio-economic and national development cannot be overemphasized. Now, sustainable development is built around three basic pillars, which include economic, social, and environmental, according to the authors. While growing global challenges, failure in governance and economic systems, sustainable development has become human-centric to cushion the effect of crimes, poverty, hunger, illiteracy, ecological degradation, depreciation in human values, etc., and has emerged as a key strategy for guiding global social and economic change, with an objective to reconcile economic, environmental, and social needs while ensuring abundance for present and future generations. It is a long-term systematic process of building and attaining a healthy community by tackling economic, environmental, and social challenges together while minimizing depletion of the natural resources. It is also a means to the end, and sustainable development has the support of various fields of knowledge and systems, such as the digital librarianship and open access system, to achieve these bloated objectives. Now, what is digital librarianship? Digital librarianship and digital librarians are two sides of the same term. While digital libraries provide the digital resources and opportunities, digital librarian taps into the array of these resources to showcase professional attributes while continuing digital competency training to keep up with the ever-evolving digital landscape. Digital librarian is an act of managing the digital resources for effective information and service delivery by the digital librarian. The advance of diffusion of information technology, especially the internet, can be connected to the passive rise in digital librarianship. So far, the continual detection of object and print information, coupled with digital creation of information upon digital, has increased knowledge generation, which should be permanently stored for next generation. Open access in terms of availability and non-digital access to public information resources. Open access has a history of evolution, which I cannot go into here because of our time constraints. Meanwhile, open access initiative is another step towards protocol for metadata harvesting, which promote the deployment of e-print collections and to make the dissemination of research information easier. Well, the following authors had discovered that digital librarianship and sustainable development has a symbiotic relationship, while open access and sustainable development has been found to relate effectively in various studies. In conclusion, sustainable development has been designed as a tripod for economic, social, and economic sustainability where it stands. It is a framework which relies upon open access and digital librarianship as well as other agencies, system policies, and organizations in order to fulfill objective. Recommendation. Policy on open access must be designed and implemented within Nigerian libraries. This will improve the visibility and the use of research findings for sustainable development projects. The libraries and the researchers in Nigeria should be compliant with the open access movement. This will encourage the online publication and the use of piece of information without restriction. Thank you very much.
Round of applause for him, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please continue to take note of each paper, the questions you would like to ask, the contributions you would like to make to each of the papers, please. The next paper is going to be presented by Dr. Rose. The paper is written by herself and Aisha, and it's titled Special Library and Information Services in the Development of Nigeria from 1962 to 2022. You have 5 minutes, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon, my colleagues. The title of libraries, supposed to be special libraries and information services in the development of Nigeria from 1962 to 2022. The paper authored by two people. That is myself, Dr. Rose Momo, and Dr. Aishat Joyce Ibunu. As we all know, special libraries are libraries that are established along a specific subject area, and these special libraries are established to provide information, specialized information for the exploitation of the members of the organization that established them. Sometimes they are also called information centers, and the special libraries actually bring together users and information resources in various formats. Then, before I go, for the concept, special libraries, you find them in different organizations. We get to that. But before then, if you look at the situation of special libraries in Nigeria, special libraries actually, have existed. Some have existed before independence, but they have, faced a lot of challenges, which is affecting their growth, their development. But despite these challenges, special libraries have contributed to the development in Nigeria. And so the aim of this paper is to look at discuss the areas where special libraries have developed, have made some developments, and also the areas where, how they have contributed to development of Nigeria, development in Nigeria. So we have the concept of a special library. According to America, is there in the paper. I may not take the definitions. We have the concept there. From the concept, we have types of special libraries. Author 1999 categorized types of special libraries based on where they are located. For example, we have public authorities such as libraries of Nigerian newspapers, publishing company, and so on and so forth. We also have them research institute libraries. We have several of them here. Then also some of the ones we have in the law court, they are all special libraries. Then users of special libraries. Users of special libraries are researchers, industrial users, academic users, professionals, they are religious body politicians. They all use businessmen, they all use special libraries. And you see, before 1960, which is before 1960, the independent year, we had some special libraries, a few of them. But after
Go to your
the
findings and
okay,
go to your
sorry, it's not an
recommendations.
empirical paper.
Go to conclusion.
Okay, okay. The conclusion is that special libraries have contributed to development of Nigeria. One, they have grown from the inception, from independence to now. Special libraries have developed. We have many of them. Then from the special libraries too have had, some of them, not all, have had the impact of ICT. They have all used ICT one way or the other to disseminate information services. I have them here. That is the services of special libraries. These are the areas they have developed. And the areas they have also, in conclusion, their special libraries have contributed to development in Nigeria through research and through information provision to researchers. Because no meaningful development can take place without research. No meaningful, sorry, sorry.
So thank you, thank you. Thank you very much, madam. Please help me to give our sister a very warm round of applause, please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please, um, at this point, we would like to pause. We've taken this set of papers, and like I have been saying, we will now want to take reactions because of lack of time. I will not want to run through brief summaries at all because that is even not the way these days. So please let us take reactions, questions, comments on each of the papers. So if you have anything to say, any question, any comment, please let's see your hand. Who is helping us to? Okay. There's somebody there. Somebody there. Okay. Let us, madam. Let us see. Do we have a mic? Do we have mic for?
Thank you, Chairman. I would like to talk to, well, the lady that presented the paper on impact of women. Yes, I don't know if her paper is on contemporary women librarians. That could be the list could suffice. But if she took a historical perspective, the paper would be incomplete without a mention of people like Professor Adetuo Ogunṣeyi, the very first professor of librarianship, her impact in library education and all that. The likes of Professor Olabigbe Aboyade and the likes of that. Yeah, okay, I know that there are quite a number of them. So if a historical perspective she took, I think there should be a revision
of that paper.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for that. Thank you very much for that. I hope you have taken notes, please. Yeah, there's so many people. There's so many people. Thank you for that very nice observation. Yes, my sister.
Thank you. Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Dr. Grace Onyebuchi from University of Nigeria. I am worried a bit concerning when the first presenter on emerging technologies, and innovations. Um, we have talked so much about the challenges as regards support from the government, from the institutions, support from, passion on the side of librarians and library lecturers, students, and all that. I want to ask, is there anything they like apart from NUC that comes once in a while for accreditation? Is there anything the organization, our parent organization, NLA, LRCN, and their likes, is there any way they are trying to monitor or supervise the activities of the library school? I mean, official way. Is there any way they are doing something to see that things are going? Is there any way they encourage schools, library institutions to bring up their innovations, things that are happening newly, so they communicate to others and things will start continue to improve. Without this, I think we'll still have a long way to go. We'll still, I mean, continue to talk about this on and on without making impact. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is a kind of the kind of question she has asked now is the type that we really need our experienced colleagues to help us make small comments in order to elucidate more. So, Dr. Kamba has something to say, and then Presido as well. Let me give to Dr. Kamba.
I think the LRCN is doing something about that, and they too they have already planned their own accreditation to go and do. Yeah, they have come with their benchmark at the LRCN level, and then now they have started extending their team to various LI schools for supervisions and other things. I think it is coming up. Yes.
Thank you very much. Presido, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kamba. You have just summarized everything. The LRCN is not sleeping on it. We have the LRCN has a minimum academic standard, and that guides library schools. And the NUC is migrating to CC Mass, that is core curriculum and minimum academic standard. And already the LRCN is working along that line to also be on the same page with the NUC. And I want to also tell you, the LRCN has come up with standards for the various types of libraries in this country: school libraries, public libraries, academic libraries, special libraries. They have standards for all libraries. So the LRCN is not sleeping on it. And when LRCN is doing that, NLA is always giving the support. And I want to tell you with all sense of humility that the development of the CC mass for for the LIS, I was a member of that committee. I was the one that represented the library sector among the over 300 professors from the various programs in Nigerian universities. So we're always part of it. When there was problem, so there was problem, and we were compelled to bring in education courses, and I resisted it. We put it to vote. I lost the vote. And I know those of our colleagues, senior colleagues, Professor Zachary Mohammed, Professor Diso, and others, the chairman of ALNO, we went on an advocacy mission to the executive secretary of the NUC, and he said, look, LIS is not the same thing as education. So he asked us to remove all the education courses. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, our president, for this elucidation. This is what we want to really know about, because this encourages us. Because this issue of education in our curriculum has been a thorny issue. Thank you, Dr. Kamba. So do we have any more questions or comments? Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Thank you very much. My name is Olajo Pio from the University of Ibadan. I want to join with the voice of the president to request that LRCN should not relax after putting up those guidelines. There should be enforcement, because I know some other professional bodies do go out to enforce some of the guidelines that they are put in place. And that is why you hear of NMA closing some shops of some hospitals that are not meeting up with the standard. So I hope we won't get to that too. Let me quickly make some comments on the papers. The first paper by Pella and some other people, and was not comfortable when I was reading something like academic librarians. And I asked myself, are there librarians that are not academic? So if that paper will fly, I think you need to look at that critically. The second paper, I couldn't really see the problem, maybe because he presented the very lean version of the paper. And if there's no problem in a particular paper, that paper is as well as good as not to be researched. Well, for the third presenter too, I query the presenter and the way she presented the problem. I didn't see that problem at all. And then looking at the respondents too, if you have only used about, I think you said the respondent, the population was 120, if I heard right, 120 and about 80 research instruments distributed, and only 51 point something responded. And I was wondering, I said, what happened to the 49 point something? So that percentage could honestly, obviously invalidate the research. So that kind of paper, I think we need to look at it again, because it will be difficult for the presenter to generalize. Yes. Well, the fourth paper, Madu and Co. Well, you said the sustainable development could be regarded as a tripod, and I was asking myself, what are the main construct that makes it a tripod? If it's going to be a tripod, so sustainable development, you didn't show us anything to present it like a tripod. Then Ekunu and Co. Said you presented something on special libraries, but you failed to tell us what makes the special libraries special libraries. It's not because it is IIA or NIIA that makes it special. I think you may need to talk about what actually makes the libraries to be special. And I think they have three categories. The resources could make them to be special, the users could make them to be special, and the combination of the two will also make. So you need to say maybe a sentence or two to let us know why you are interested in special, like this special things that you are talking of. Well, and I also remark here that you have also devoted too much attention to challenges. You are not really working on challenges of those libraries, but you wanted to convince us that they have impacted on the information distribution, exchange, utilization, and all of that. But you didn't say much on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much for your comments. Ah, uh, please, you will be very brief, please. Be very brief. Yes, my lady, be very brief. Thank you.
My name is Melobioma. Ma, I'm sorry because this my comment is not on these papers, but the morning papers, and a quote that one of the presenter was supporting the LRC closing schools that doesn't have good libraries. And I want to just contribute or comment. It has been touching me since morning. If we did not contribute to any primary school or secondary school or look into their affairs, maybe as government or as public library, and coming to close their library, it means I was just humiliating the school, because it's only when we assisted or sponsored or donated and they did not make use of it or put some a structure to make use of it, we will now say that they are not serious. But let's first go in and know why they don't have libraries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my sister. On this note, please, we'll round up. I'm very sorry, please. I can see you have more people, but I've been told that we don't have much time because we want to go to the next set of series of papers. So I want to, on this note, thank. Please, let's give a very, very serious warm round of applause to all the presenters. Please, it's not easy. It's not easy. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, our next set of presenters are Efosa Egahareba, Ingozi M. Inwakiri, Dr. Adeto Miwa Basiru, Dr. Umar Aliyu, then Ajani Yusuf Ayodeji, Ajani Yusuf Ayodeji,
Have you called all of them? Ajani Ayodeji. Okay. So please, we would like all those who have just been mentioned to come up. Is that first are here? Okay. Services. Okay. First, Egareva. Okay. First, is going to do a presentation titled Library Information Services as Catalyst to Actualizing Government Educational Policies. Library Information Services as Catalyst to Actualizing Government Educational Policies. Um, this paper was written by two two persons and is presenting on behalf of Obaseki, Tony Obaseki. You have 5 minutes. Thank you. And as usual, please, my eminent colleagues, let us be attentive so that we can make comments and we can ask questions and make contributions. Thank you.
Good evening, distinguished colleagues. I'm presenting this paper on behalf of myself and my co-author, Obaseki Tony Bonosa. We are looking at the library information services as catalyst to actualizing government educational policies. We all know that policies are put in place by government to reform a sector of an area or an economy. In this case, we are looking at how policies are put in place to reform the education sector and the part that the library play in that area. A major outcome of the usage of the library is that it sustains national development through knowledge which is gotten in the library. And if the library is not well put in place, we may find out that the sustenance or the actualization of the educational policies will not be there. Library services and educational policies are initiated mostly by government that determines the direction of education system. And if you read through the sixth edition of it clearly states that the philosophy and goals of education in Nigeria. So the sixth edition of the National Policy Education clearly states what we aim to achieve in our educational policy. I will just run through firstly the education as an instrument of national development. Education plays vital role for promotion of the progressive of the F1 United Nigeria. Education maximizes potentials and skills of individuals, and so on and so forth. You go through the public library services in actualizing. We are looking at the role the public library plays in helping to actualize this policy. All types of library, whether they are public or academic or special library, serve basic tools for the actualization of the goals and objective of education of the goals and objective of education in the Nigerian policy of education. The philosophy, orientation, and nations of libraries, especially public libraries as asserted by Ebelin and NIGERIAN in 2019, are rooted in the responsibility of disseminating diverse and current information services to members of the community, which that public library is set up to serve. The Library Registration Council LRCN standards and guidelines for public libraries clearly state, among other purposes, of establishing public library to include supporting the individual in self-conducted examination education as well as formal education at all levels, ensuring access for citizens of all sorts of information. When you go through the LRCS document on standards and guidelines for public library, it clearly states there that public libraries are set up to enhance individuals, to help people of the community, irrespective of their age, their color, or their political leanings or religious leanings. Librarians as bridge between rendering library services and actualizing education policies. You and I know that for these policies, as it concerns the library to be actualized, the librarian stands as the bridge. Amongst what the librarian is the involvement of the implementation of the section of the library that is contained in the national policy on education. The librarian makes sure that those policies are well, brought to pass and the librarian bridge the gap in the national development in the area of knowledge acquisition and so on. It provides information to education ministry, that is the librarian now, to education ministry, to agencies and parastatals that make sure that the education policy as it concerns the library is well actualized. We looked at the model services delivery and we take a look at the policy on education as proposed by the UK government. We find cultural and creative, and government should ensure that there should be properly and adequately funded libraries, especially the public libraries, so that everyone can self-educate themselves. And by station, beyond the four walls of an institution, people can educate themselves and thereby try to actualize that part of the national policy of education that talks of self-education. And finally, the government should adopt regular supervision of the operations of library, as this will help the library to be standardized. Thank you.
Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you so much. Thank you. Take note of that paper. Keep our questions and our comments. The next paper will be delivered by Ngozi Waoriri. The titled the destructive potential of artificial intelligence, the journey so far in Nigerian academic e-library services. You have 5 minutes to talk.
So, I am Dr. Mrs. Wonhiri Ngozi, and this paper is co-authored with Dr. Mrs. Nkiru Emezie. This blessed afternoon, we are going to look at the destructive potentials of artificial intelligence, the journey so far in academic libraries. It is hoped that at the end of this presentation, that there will be stimulation for greater emphasizing on academic librarians to reinvent themselves and their services in this era of artificial intelligence to avoid being obsolete in the near future. Having said that, please recall that the trend in academic libraries is such that they are transforming to incorporating new technologies in their service delivery. Out of these emerging technologies that are bound, my paper presentation is going to dwell on artificial intelligence. And without doubt, we know that this artificial intelligence is really significantly impacting on every sphere of human endeavor, be it science, be it health, education, engineering, and of course, librarianship. Hence, this presentation is going to look at what academic librarians were regarded as before. You know, they were seen as a storehouse of knowledge. Nowadays, and of recent, academic libraries are transforming to incorporating innovative services, creative services. They are adopting these new technologies into their services so that they can still remain relevant, so that they can still be very, very useful in this 21st century. Be that as it may, since these academic libraries are adopting or incorporating these new technologies, there's no how they can do this without evolving into smart individuals. You know, they have to evolve into smart individuals. They have to, in fact, these new technologies, they are giving. It is not a take. So it's a must that you must know what are these new technologies, which can be deployed to library services, and of what benefits, what is that significant change is going to bring us to something new, taking us away from what it used to be in those days to something new. So these academic librarians, they have to arm themselves with the mastery of these new technologies, without which they cannot function in this information landscape. So, having seen that, we'll now take a look for us to really appreciate what are these new technologies.
Conclude for us, please. Conclude for us. Thank you.
So, these artificial technologies that we have the chatbots, we have the robots, we have the drones. I cannot go into telling us what each can do. And the implications of these artificial intelligence for librarians are it could relieve librarians of their jobs. Librarians need to find easy and exciting ways of providing electronic information. Librarians will have to be involved in development of artificial intelligence technologies that adapt to their users' needs. And the way forward is that librarians need to find alternative means of making online information easily accessible, embedding AI technologies in library portals to serve as web assistants could help users easily navigate the databases we have in our various
Applause, a round of applause for her. Thank you very much. Artificial intelligence. That's the way to go. Thank you very much. Thank you. This is our next, the next paper will be taking Adetomiwa Bashiru from, isn't it? Reputable vessels.
Good evening, distinguished delegates. The title of my presentation is Predatory versus Reputable Journals, perspective of Nigerian librarians. Two of us wrote the paper. I myself, Adetomiwa Bashiru, I'm a principal librarian with Redeemers University, then with Holland and Margaret with National Defense College Library, Abuja. Academic publishing has changed the widespread of open access journal. So we now have more journals for authors to publish their work than ever before. This benefits authors by providing more avenues for publication, but it also puts greater responsibility on them to avoid serious threat of publishing a predatory journal. Librarians must remain alert and must be very careful to examine the publication which they wish to make known the result of their research outputs. We have various online publishers that are no longer peer review manuscripts. Some of them will just send unsolicited email. Some even put your email requesting for your publication, or in the name to collect APC. APC is article processing charges. Preliminary investigation show that the penny outside of predatory journals is unknown to many librarians. And academic librarian must be proficient at differentiating between predatory and legitimate journals. The study sought answer to the 5 research questions to know where the preference of academic librarian between legitimate and predatory journal. Then to know the number of articles published by academic librarian in predatory and legitimate journals. We review literature on the same subject of investigation to know the difference between reputable and predatory journal. And according to Michi 2020, predatory journal is a journal that simply paid from an author. They are all interested in taking your money, whether they review or no, they don't review your manuscript. Reputable journal are extremely clear about APC. Other fee associated with publication, predatory journal prevent these principles, often providing falsified information. The quality of predatory journal is compromised as they do not follow ethical practice of article publishing like peer review. We also look at past literature on this same subject of investigation to know how researchers, scholars can distinguish between predatory and reputable journal. And Bukhari 2018 explained that Think Check Summit is a cross-industry initiative led by representatives from DOAJ, INAS, ISSN, LIBA. Think Check Summit is a very good app. It will show you the checklist that you can follow to determine the journal where you can publish your research output. Also, DOAJ lists only peer review journals. The methodology used, the study adopted survey result design, using structural questionnaire, and a sample of 200 delegates attended last LLA conference. We used the field statistics in analyzing our responses. I'm going to show you some of our results now. First thing, we asked respondents to know how familiar are they with think check submit approach before they publish their manuscripts. And from this result, you can see that just 50% said they are familiar with it, while 84% said they are not familiar with think check approach. We also asked of knowledge of DOAG before publishing. So 58% said they have knowledge of DOAG, 142% said no. Then number of articles, I'm going to spend a little time here. Number of articles in predatory and reputable journals. We asked respondents to tell the number of articles they published in both predatory and reputable journal in the last 5 years. And you can see the results. In the compendium, our paper is paper 12. Here we asked respondents to consider what would they consider most important in choosing a specific journal for their publication, and we use some of the items as peer review to measure some of these things like publication cost, good editorial support, quality of submission system. Also, we asked respondents to how do they distinguish between predatory journal and reputable journal, and you have the results here. Let me move to my summary of findings. The results of the study show that sample librarians have a good perception of both predatory and reputable journal, but most of them responded choose some predatory journal due to rapid publication and non-rigorous peer review. Some of them use some of these predatory journals to make numbers. Let me go to my recommendation because I want to say something about the international of LIS journal. We recommended OGS. OGS is Open Journal Management System, and you want to manage the published articles. Then librarians should be trained on not responsibility, including how to make choice about where to publish their research findings. Thank you.
So thank you very, very much. It's a nice one too. Thank you so much. The next paper, please take note of your questions, comments. The next paper will be taken by Umar Aliyu Abubakar, Digital Technology, Innovations and Trends in Library and Information Service Delivery, Imperative for Effective Distance Learning Program in Nigeria. 5 minutes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All protocols duly observed. The paper Digital Technology, Innovation and Trends in Library and Information Service Delivery, Imperative for Digital Learning Program in Nigeria. Libraries forms an integral part of any institution, such that without them, the quality, success, and progress of any education would be negatively affected. You can agree with me and attest to that. From the beginning up to this time I'm presenting, there was a lot of emphasis on the need to provide information and the relevance of library towards development of education and knowledge. Where library is also considered to be one of the basic instruments or institutions to be considered before giving any accreditation to any program that should be run, particularly in Nigeria. Now, distance learning program. What distance learning program is? Distance learning program is a form of teaching and learning approach that operates from simple learning encounter with the recipient and knowledge when the tutor and the recipient of the knowledge are separated by physical interaction. Digital technology innovation, which is also part of the sub-theme of this activity. It is the technology, the technology is there for long, is there. But the digital technology innovation, it is the improvement, the activities, the technical approaches we add into the existing practice we operate, particularly in the library, where we create forms and formats of for delivery of resources, source and access. You can bear with me that yes, today you can get access to any library of your choice. You can get access to the content of the information you need at the comfort of your own bedroom. You all have it. This is what we are also using now to improve our activities. Library service delivery. The service delivery concerned with two major things: basic, the structure, as well the infrastructure, which is also one of the major concerns that we use to deliver information, not only delivery, to acquire, process, and give maximum access and retrieval for quick decision making. What is service delivery as we are talking about? Service delivery is a set of principles, standards, policies, constraints used to guide the design, development, operation, and retirement of services. How do we deliver the information today? Do we need a courier service? Do we need somebody to deliver? Do we need to wait as it is operated before, where the issue that has to do with learning by correspondence, you have to wait to get the documents from your tutor. It could either be outside. You have to wait the postman to deliver the content in a paper base. But today, you can get access to the content. It will be delivered to you. You have access to it without being waiting for anybody to. You can respond to it without waste of time. Now, what are these imperatives? The entire imperatives include you can easily connect and navigate libraries virtually. Round the clock availability of the resources, distance there is not a problem entirely. Where you are residing, the issue of geographical barrier is not there, and it gives you easy access to the resources. You can get the document without any hardship. Then, not physical boundary. Okay. In conclusion, it will be pessimistic in the extreme end to state here that distance learning program without the involvement of libraries in the digital technology innovation and trends era bound to minimize the opportunities for students to access and utilize learning and research resources beyond the traditional paper base and must eventually become discriminating users in the digital age. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. That's a good one. So please, a very warm round of applause for our presenter, please. Thank you very much. The next paper now will be taken by Ajani Ayodeji, titled Tracing the Development of ICT Application in Nigerian Libraries. They need to look into the direction of the fourth industrial revolution technologies. 5 minutes, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Sorry, please. Just a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, eminent librarians, some people are coming behind there. Please let us all be attentive. Please, carry on.
Good afternoon, everyone. While starting on the existing protocol, I'll be presenting a paper titled Tracing the Development of ICT Applications in Nigerian Libraries
and the need to look into the direction of the fourth industrial revolution. Globally, there has been an unprecedented advancement in information technology, and various organizations, libraries inclusive, have keyed into these advantages. Among the initial technologies that were actually used in libraries were the computer technologies and the telecommunication technologies, micrographic technologies, reprography, and the printing technologies. No doubt, the significance of the impact of this technology is reflected on library operations. And as Nigerian libraries keep evolving, they start engulfing with this driven environment, and the term librarianship began to change over time. Now we now have the word dissemination as being replaced by communication, and repository being replaced by databases, literature by knowledge, and search by navigation. According to Anifa 2018, it suggested that libraries have gone through several stages of development, which is three stages. And what are the stages? The first stage was the introduction of automated systems in libraries, which began in the late 1960s, with development of machine readable catalogs. Until in the 1990s, when academic libraries began to use the online public access catalogs. The second stage was the electronic libraries, which was dominated since the emergence of the CD-ROM, the internet, and majorly some of these established technology from the 1960s were eroded by these technologies. For example, you can see the began analog and audiovisual records are being replaced by the multimedia content. As a result of that, the third stage reflected on the advanced technologies which allowed for the completion of difficult tasks, such as processing of text, sound, and photograph, as well as the ability to simplify sending of data or collaborate the use of data among users. No doubt, this development has been altered by the advancement in information technology or by the fourth industrial revolution. The word fourth industrial revolution is being characterized by various technologies, and these technologies are known as the Internet of Things. There are more time, I would have loved to explain all of these things. The Internet of Things, the big data, the blockchain, the robotic technology, the artificial intelligence, marker space, virtual reality. At the same time, the current one, which is the metaverse, that the world is looking into this direction. According to Dube, academic libraries all around the world are embracing this technology, including few African countries. And the question now is that Nigeria, it is evident in the literature that Nigerian libraries and few of African countries are also being lethargic in the use of these technologies. Could it be that these Nigerian libraries are unaware of these transformative potentials, or are they finding it difficult to respond to these new global trends, or are they being fearful to be replaced by these technologies? So with that, these are the questions that stimulated the conduct of this study, and we have 6 objectives being in the direction of this study. Now, looking at the findings of the study, please go to the findings. Looking at the findings of the study, in the objective 1, the ICT that has been applied since the beginning of 1960. We have the likes of the Mac, OPAC, reprographic technologies, computer printer, microfilm, facsimilitudes, and many likes. The objective 2, it focuses on the traditional and the services that has been offered using these ICT facilities that I just mentioned. And what are these services? We have the document delivery services, provision of web access to OPAC, and we have document scanning services and the likes. Objective 3, why? Which has been identified in our discussion. So here we have recommendations based on the conclusions of this study. And the recommendation is that libraries should improve on the old services that is being offered through the ICT and look into the fourth industrial revolution technologies. And the librarian must also change their attitude towards the acceptance of this technology, towards using them to deliver information services. And at the same time, funding is a very important integral of these things that all the stakeholders must also consider, which we must look into the direction. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. The fourth industrial revolution, that is where we should be. We are going there by God's grace. Please, a very warm round of applause to our presenter again. Thank you very much. And please give a very warm round of applause to all of you, please. It's not easy sitting down. Thank you very much. Thank you. So now we have come to the end of this series sessions. I would like to take questions, comments, observations, and so on when we have. If we have. Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you for this privilege to make some comments. Now, my own comment is general in nature, and that has to do with presentation. It's very unfortunate that all over the years, even up till now, presenters don't stick to time. Something must be wrong somewhere. Because when you come for presentation, you're expected to give us a brief introduction of what you're presenting, and that should not take more than a minute or at most two. Then briefly tell us the method you use. That again takes about 1 minute. Then your findings, conclusion, 2 minutes. Their recommendation, another 1 or 2 minutes. You are done with. So I think we need to work more. We need to work more on our presenters so that they will adhere to like not only for us here, but when they go to other areas for presentation like IFLA and other international organizations. So that's my comment generally. Then on the issue of our sister raised here, I saw it on the platform. They said NLA and NRC to close down schools with poor libraries. Now, my own response to that was that why close down? The sensible thing is to help such schools improve on their libraries. Closing down such libraries will be counterproductive and make the already bad situation worse. Because we are talking of extending library services to the rural areas, that to primary schools, secondary schools, and so on. Then those who are managing to do something, you brand them poor and want to go and close them. It's not good. I rather expect that we should support them to improve. Then, talking on the issue of academic librarians and so on, the who raised the issue is not here. Some institutions, their librarians are non-academic. In fact, there's one state now, the academic librarians, their salaries have been stopped because they say they are not academic, they are still battling. To inform the state government that they are academic and should be treated as such. Even when I was a deputy librarian at Nigerian Defense Academy, we had two deputies, one academic, one non-academic. And the system continued like that. My boss is here to bear me out. So these are some of the issues. The point I try to make is that we have academic librarians, we have non-academic librarians. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other contribution? Okay, thank you. Please.
Good evening. Now, all this, yes, all what the presenters have discussed so far, right from the beginning of this conference, it all boils down to one thing on our part, which is which is attitude on us Nigerians. That the development of of our great country Nigeria is not going to occur by magic. It lies with us. It's up to us to decide what do we want. What do we want? So it's up to us to decide whether we want to go forward or whether we want to stagnate. So and it will reflect in how because you pursue this or what we have discussed here in this conference. that I it's understandable that the environment for enabling all this is not there. We have the issue of epileptic power supply and this, but if we really want this, then we will show him. If we really want this, then it will show him that the technology to improve the enabling environment for all this to happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Professor Beku, Professor Beku will just yes,
Yeah,
make comment. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, because for us, every chair is a man. That's why we go to court and call the lady judge, my lord. Thank you. Yeah, just a quick one. I want to align myself to what my friends said and other people say. And I am actually praying very hard that this National Commission on Libraries and Information System will come very fast. Because the solution is not going on accreditation or supervision and closing down libraries that are barely trying to stand on their feet. That will not take us anywhere. Yes, so I want to see the advocacy we can bring in to make them to stand, either as NLA or Librarian Registration Council. That's one. And the second one, ma, is that we should tread softly, because those of us who have been part of university administration know very well that vice chancellors are complaining that many bodies are coming for accreditation. And when they come with a lot demanding for money. And also one team that came to UNN and the VC said, I am not ready to hear them. It is only AUC that can give me headache. So we must tread softly, persuasively, rather than being combative when we are dealing with these issues about accreditation. Even AUC, if you have up to 70% to give you full accreditation for library, any program. So I just want to suggest that it is not closing down the libraries that existed that is the solution, and it is not just going to the library schools and telling them you don't have this stop functioning because they are not going to listen to you because they listen to AUC, which is authorized by law to approve program for both undergraduate. So I'm just trying to suggest we should tread very softly so that we don't cross our jurisdiction. Thank you so very much for the opportunity to comment.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much. Great. Your point is well taken. Let us tread with caution so that we do not throw away the baby and the bathwater. Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause to every one of us for being so patient. Being so patient. Thank you very much. And with this, we come to the end of this round of paper presentations. Thank you very much. We have an address or presentation by going to be Library Aid Africa. Library Aid Africa is coming up immediately. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And get the paper. Thank you. Thank you. So not to come back and thank you very much.
Please let's appreciate Professor Ross Oti, please. Yeah. So far, we have presented 42 papers from yesterday and today. So we have remaining 18 papers which we are going to take by tomorrow by good grace. Yes. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Remember that the cultural night will be starting 6 p.m. 6 p.m. What's the time now? 5:30, 6 p.m. Please. Please, for certain reasons. This presentation is for 30 minutes. So by 6 p.m. we are starting. Please, thank you. Tomorrow we are starting 8 a.m. in the morning. 8 a.m. Start with paper presentations to concurrent sessions. Then we have AGM before the dinner night later in the day. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, distinguished delegates. Okay, good evening, distinguished delegates. My name is Ishmael, and I'm from Library in Africa. At Library Aid, we harness digital technology and use citizen engagement approaches to make libraries viable.
Is this live?
Next slide.
Is she live? Huh?
Okay, son, it's like